Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to my friends and awesome business partners wherever you are. Today, I want to ask you a question and share a story. The question is, what's your plan? The story is something that a billionaire friend of mine told me the other day that completely made so much sense. I just wanted to tell it to you. So I was catching up with a friend who I just have so much respect for, because actually it's not just the fact that he created enormous results in his life, but it's really the principles that he lives his life around. And he's just one of those human beings that you can tell has huge dignity. And when he shares things with me, I know it's like coming from this really dignified place. It's coming from this really deep place where it's not a thrown together statement or a haphazard thought, or, not that there's anything wrong with that either, but it's almost like you can tell it's a really refined, really curated, something that this individual came to over a process and lots of time and energy, and only then do they really share things as like knowledge. I have enormous respect for that. And we were having a conversation, and he shared with me basically one of the number one management techniques and management tools that he used with his team as he grew this company to be at its peak. I believe it was like an $11 billion market cap company. That's freaking huge. And what he shared with me was that every single Friday, he had every single person that reported to him, that was a member of his management team, write a weekly summary. And that weekly summary included just two things. Number one, how did you do in regards to your plan from the week before? Was your plan successful in essence? And number two, what is your plan for the week ahead? That was it. The entire weekly summary was just those two things. How successful were you implementing your plan from the week before? And what is your plan for next week? And he shared with me that the reason why he had his team do this is really not actually because he wanted to know those two things. It was really because it was so freaking important for them to plan. That it was a ritual that got everybody every week actually planning, actually thinking about, what is my goal next week? What is my plan for next week? What am I doing? How am I driving my business forward? How am I moving closer to the targets that I have? How am I creating value that I haven't created before? How am I solving a different challenge that's stopping me in my life or in my business or in my success? What's my plan? And the practice and just the ritual of his team, his innermost team, constantly planning, always having a plan, was one of the things that he attributed to his company growing to $11 billion. That's freaking amazing. And so I want to return to my first question for you. What's your plan? And really in life and as entrepreneurs, we've got to invest in our own planning capacity. Planning is a skill. It's so easy to wake up every day and just live life by default. Well, let's see, I'm just going to think about, what I want to do today. And I'm just going to, this thing popped up or that thing popped up, or maybe I'll do this, or maybe I'll do that. And day after day after day, we do that. And then should we really be surprised if we wake up a decade from now and we've got the same results we had a decade before? That's not how I want to live. I want to see my decades producing phenomenal results and phenomenal growth over what my decades were before. Because to me, a principle of life is growth and evolution. And if you're not growing and you're not evolving, then it's kind of like you're not really living. You're almost just stagnating. That's not life. You look at everything and it's always growing, it's always evolving. So one of the ways I measure that is my success. Was I more successful this year than I was last year? Or this quarter than I was last quarter? And I look at, okay, how did the results that I produce measure up to the new skills I developed and the new abilities I took on and the new initiatives I took on and the ways I grew myself and stretched myself? And planning is one of the ways that we accomplish this. So I want to leave you guys with just one technique that I do every night that I've found to be extraordinarily helpful. When I get to the end of the day, and I also invite you to do the weekly one as well. At the end of every day, I found that the timing is just right for this. Almost right before I'm going to bed, there's this sort of meditative, reflective time. And I look at the day and I look at all the things that I had written from the night before that I wanted to accomplish, and I kind of check off what was accomplished. And then, sometimes things are reshuffled and they're not a priority and I throw them into the future. Or sometimes things didn't get done and they get added to the next day. But every night I check off what did I accomplish, what did I do, and I make my list for what's my plan for the next day. What are the most important things that I need to accomplish to move my life and move my business forward? And that night, I have my plan for the next day. So when I wake up the next day, I'm not randomly oh, I wonder what I'm going to do today. No, there's a plan. And every single night, there's a plan. Every single day you wake up, there's a plan. Having this level of planning capacity in your life will take you to the next level. I don't say that because it's oh, it could work. No, this absolutely freaking works. The only question is, will you raise your planning abilities? Will you raise your planning capacities and see what you're really capable of? And I hope that you will. And in closing, try the weekly one too. The weekly one is really powerful. If you look at your business and you say, okay, if I accomplish this next week, I'm going to learn how to generate 10 new prospects a week, right? By the end of next week, I will have 10 new prospects in my business. That's my plan. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to test out LinkedIn. I'm going to test out Facebook. Maybe I'm going to, join some new social networking groups or, Instagram comments or whatever your strategy is, whatever it is. Your plan is that you're going to have 10 new prospects in your business, and your strategy, how you're going to do that is this, 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 and this. And then you revise. At the end of the week, you look, how successful was I in my plan? Well, I got 5 of them. Well, you know what? Wow, all 5 of them came from Facebook. So maybe I should double down, and my plan next week is still to get 10, but I'm going to spend twice as much time on Facebook and not any of this other stuff. And all of a sudden next week you got 10 prospects, and you're like, wow, I did it. And then the week after that, it's 20 prospects. And now all of a sudden you're noticing you're signing up 1 or 2 new people a week in your business. That kind of steady, methodical planning and growing and getting better and better and better will lead to you producing the freaking life and the business and the results that you want for yourself. And I hope you look back a decade from now and you go, it was all Jonathan and his friend Sanjeev. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's all you. But I hope that you truly take from this video today an important lesson that planning will change the game. Take your planning skills to the next level, and I'll see you guys in the next video.